let's talk about like you mentioned the Alpa camera. Let's talk about that, like how you get
Yeah.
your hands on it. That is a insanely expensive system that very few people get to shoot with. The what you were shooting with, I don't even know. Does it even exist yet? You know, like I don't. That's
I don't know. Like, I think that they have created this incredible tool, and I think what part of what they're struggling with is like, all right, how do we like get this out there? How do we get people excited about it? Because it's so expensive, it's so specific, and like what do we do? And I don't know for sure, but I
right.
think that their marketing team Googled focus stacking or Googled macro
Found
photography
you,
and
huh? Yeah.
found me. Like
Amazing.
I I
Yeah.
I, I think it's literally that simple. And she's amazing. Her name's Daniela, and she's I think the head of marketing at Alpa. And she reached out to me and she's like, "Listen, we got this new kit. We love what you're doing. Is there anything we could do to make this like happen?" And I work with a shop in Toronto called B3K. They're like the big pro shop that sells phase systems and everything
Huh.
like that. And I talked to them and they're like, "We'll take care of all the importation and all that. Just promote us and we'll deal with Alpa and make sure that this can all happen." And this, this box showed up that was like the size of like a deep freezer from Switzerland in like late August or something. And they were like, "Here it is." And then myself and the guy Kyle at B3K had to sort of figure out how to use it all. And, as soon as the images started going back to Switzerland and I was showing them what I'm doing, that she was just wrote me, she's like, "I'm so glad we found each other." And, and that's basically it. And so I've
Wow.
got this crazy tool, it's gone from shooting macro stuff on a white background kind of with my Canon system, and like all of a sudden I've been like handed this like tool from outer space, basically. Here you go, and it's like the best of the best, and I think that it's like part of the pressure now is like there's no excuse. Like there's no, oh, but it could be higher res, or oh, but it could be a little sharper. It's like now this is the best you can possibly get, and
Yeah.
it's sort of up to me now to be like, okay, well, what's the next stuff I want to shoot? And they've been great. It's a small company out of Switzerland. It's like the equipment is beautiful. They've been great to deal with, and I think that like the cherry on top of the cake, so to speak, was that they got Peter McKinnon doing a video about their gear, and he's got an audience of like 5 million people or
Yeah.
something. So I think it's like a perfect storm.
Right.
Like I love the gear. They need it to be out in the world, and I've got a bit of an audience. Peter's got a huge audience, and like so that's kind of how it's come together. And one of the fun things that I'm doing for them, because they're like, "Yeah, we need some merch. We see that you guys are doing all this merch stuff. We need some merch." And I'm like, "I'll design you a cool Alpa sweatshirt." And they're like,
Sweet.
"That's great." So,
Yeah.
so, so I'm just waiting to get those back, but I think they're going to be pretty
Nice.
sweet. And I'll
Like
I'll wear them. I
they can be like, listen, if you spend $100,000 on this camera, we will give you a sweatshirt.
I just I here's the thing. Like it's I think the camera must be some, I don't know for sure, but some a bit of like a lost leader for them. Like
Yeah.
how do you sell $100,000 system? Like how many people are there out there fishing for a camera like that? Like I think the people that need them are probably like university institutes where
Yeah.
they're, I don't know, documenting like ancient arrowheads that they're finding in the prairies or something. Zoological institutes where
Right.
they're photographing insects, maybe like evidence rooms, but I don't, but the equipment itself too is so technical that you almost need a technician to
Yeah. Show
learn
you
that
how to do it.
system specifically. Yeah. So I mean, I hope they sell 1 million of them because of me, but I honestly had to kind of like control their expectations in a polite way, because it's like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's a system that I love, but it's just you have to really know what you're doing to use it properly.
Oh yeah.
Even assembling and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're dude,
So
they're gorgeous too. I mean, what a just absolute beautiful system.
uh-huh.
And once again, like because of what I do, like I've shot a lot of movement cameras. Yeah, I mean, we talked about that the last time you were on. I shot phase, owned phases, I've been all over the place. because architecture is demanding when it comes to detail sometimes. That's changed a bit, I think, in the way you were starting to see it represented more, which is pretty natural and pretty sometimes even kind of soft, honestly. Sometimes like shallower depth of fields and stuff that it used to be like so tag sharp, you know. But nonetheless, what a amazing system. You know, when it comes to even in Peter's video, you know, when he talked about like Swiss design and the watch world, I know he's a big watch guy, but um it's true. You know, when you look at like what they did, you're just like, oh my God, what a masterpiece of design here.
I've only been there once to Switzerland. It was last year, unrelated to Alpa stuff. But
Uh-huh.
I was skiing in southern Germany, and the closest airport was in Zurich. So I flew in there and spent a couple nights in there. It's an incredible place, man. Like you could walk into like a 7-Eleven equivalent and like get a sandwich, and it's like it looks like it was made by like a French pastry chef. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything there is really good. They really care about quality. There's like an honor to everything that is being marketed or put out to sale for sale, and it's refreshing because I feel like our culture here in North America is pretty throwaway.
Mhm.
Um, Stuff's not really built to last, and it's sort of there's planned obsolescence in every consumer good that you seem to get. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. Like if I'm looking to buy a toaster and I just need something fast, like you go to Walmart or whatever, and you can get something for $20, but that's not the culture there. It's like
Yeah.
everything is forever, and it's really refreshing to see. And I hope I get to spend more time there
Yeah.
because it's inspiring, man.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know.
yeah. I mean, the level of craftsmanship and attention to
Hmm.
detail when you look at so many Swiss made items, you know, is it's really impressive. I like what you were talking about, you know, when you were talking about Alpa and this idea of like, well, there's no excuse now, you know, like there's no
Yeah,
I wish there was more detail. I wish there was this, you know, like you really can't shoot it any better than what that camera's doing.
yeah,
So, I mean, for me, that was what was cool to see some of the mushroom stuff and everything is because you get a little more depth in those images, you know, compared to I mean, look, what you've done with like the coins and the gummy bears and everything, that's amazing because you take especially with a coin or something, you take what could look like a very two-dimensional object and create a lot of depth and dimension by using focus stacking and stuff. But then when you look at the mushroom and you got the moss and you've got like levels of detail, I just feel like it really showcases it even more as far as like just how much detail is in it.
yeah. I think without getting too sappy, and I have to sort of think about a proper way to frame this when I eventually have to write a statement about the work with the mushrooms and whatever that ends up morphing into, is that there's like a perfection in nature that's almost supernatural.
Yeah.
Those shapes are whatever, if you believe it or not, but like designed by God or something bigger than us to make that mushroom designed that way with the gills, with the exact shape. So it pours the water inside of it, which feeds the earth that feeds the mushroom. And like, I think that, you know, that that is so much more intricate than anything humans can sort of
Yeah.
synthetically manufacture. And I do think I had a feeling that was going to be the case visually when we look at stuff like that. Stuff that we're pulling out of nature. But I think that like taking those things and putting them into that sort of space age laboratory white environment, um, yeah, there's a lot you could stare at.
Yeah.
And I think that that technology really, really, really puts that forward. And my dream is to continue this and do hundreds of mushrooms that way. And maybe it's a book, maybe it's a show, maybe it's both. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
always kind of thinking about like what can I add to photography? Obviously, the postmodern sort of understanding of the world where it's all been done is partially true, but what can I take and what elements can I combine to give myself something that I'm excited about that I hope people haven't seen before? It's a novel perspective on something. And I
Yeah.
think I hope hopefully with that mushroom project again, whatever that morphs into is one of those things where I'm taking something that everyone's aware of, but I'm showing it through photography and I'm adding value. I'm teaching myself and people through that visually. And if I can do that with that mushroom project, then it's a success.
Yeah.
And there is an intimidating aspect to it too, because I'm like every other artist. I don't want to fail, and it's an experiment. And once it's out there, it's that's stuck to my brand and stuck to my legacy as an artist. And there's pressure associated with it too. Like I want to say it's fun, but I remember going up there with, I had a team of friends that I pulled a bunch of favors that were going to come help me with it and stuff like that. And it was a bit of like a nerve-wracking few days because I didn't know what it was gonna how it was gonna turn out, But yeah, I'm happy you like it, man.
Oh,
Just
it's gorgeous. Yeah, man, it's
yeah.
beautiful. I can't wait to see more.